If you really want to improve your driving technique, you cannot just ask someone to tell you when to brake or when to turn. You have to learn how the car wants you to drive it. You have to learn car handling techniques, and that's where I excel at. The Motor Racing Checklist is the work of my life, currently with 2,000 drivers registered, and here's the thing, if you don't improve in 30 days, you get your money back. So give it a try. If you have any questions, just send me a message. I'm always available to answering these questions. This course is made for high-level drivers. If you're a beginner, you're gonna use it for a long time because all these concepts will help you right away, but the more you improve, the more you understand them, and then you're able to squeeze every concept to the limit, and you're gonna gain precision to be able to apply them in a very subtle way that most people don't even notice a difference in their driving. But those are the small things that make you improve a tenth per corner, and then if you just add up those tenths, you realize you're 1 second faster than everyone else. Give it a try. If you have any question, just send me a message.
Welcome, race fans, to the BiS F1600 Championship, where the drama intensifies as we arrive at the legendary Oulton Park. Our tour across England continues, and the historic track promises no shortage of excitement. Mark McDonald leads the charge, carrying the momentum of 2 stunning victories at the Brands Hatch Festival. Behind him, Matthew Murphy snatched a win of his own, but the heat is on, with Radical Cup Canada's Brady Clapham and the fresh talent Roger Sieber leapfrogging Murphy in the standings. And let's not forget, Oulton Park has a story all of its own. A touch of the ghostly, a hint of the eerie. They say that Anne Boleyn, the ill-fated queen herself, once graced the nearby Oulton Hall. After her tragic execution, rumors swirled that her spirit lingered here, casting an air of mystery that still haunts the grounds today. This is no ordinary racetrack. It's a place where speed meets legend and history comes alive with every corner. Oulton Park is ready for the next chapter, and our drivers are here to write it. Buckle up, folks. The BiS F1600 Championship is about to make history. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. It is great to be back. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon. Joining me in the booth today, we have Reese Southpaw Racer Gardner, and yet again at the controls, that poser himself, Mr. Christian Hill. It's definitely good to be back. Certainly, I did miss last week's Radical. I do apologise for that, ladies and gentlemen, but I was feeling as good as I look, which is, yeah, it's rhetorical, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to go down that road. I know where I'm at. And obviously the hair and makeup department here at Pit Road Productions is Reese took it all with hairstyling, hair products.
Yeah. Yeah, it took a lot of the budget to knock all of this off. Yeah, honestly, Zippy, I'm pretty hyped for this round. Oulton Park is a classic British circuit. We had a really competitive first round in the Formula Ford Festival at Brands Hatch. Basically, we couldn't figure out who was winning. Welcome to Oulton Park, one of England's true gems, and a circuit that demands every ounce of bravery, precision, and skill from our drivers. Nestled in the Cheshire countryside, Oulton Park is a track with character, history, and no shortage of drama. From the tight technical island bend to the breathtaking sweep of Druids, this circuit is all about commitment. The drivers will fly down the avenue out of turn 1, braking hard into cascades at turn 2, where balance and control are everything. Then it's onto the Shell Oils hairpin, a banked right-hander that punishes those who don't hug the line. Let's not overlook Knickerbrook, an absolute thriller of a kink that separates the brave from the fearless down at turn 6. As if the circuit wasn't challenging enough, the draft battle will be intense with the bypassing of the chicanes tonight. But make no mistake, the drivers won't be looking over their shoulders. They'll be fully focused on the wheel, pushing their machines to the edge in pursuit of glory. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Oulton Park, and it's ready to put our BiS F1600 drivers to the ultimate test, Zippy.
Oh, absolutely. I tell you what, while we're on the subject though, whereabouts else are we going to be going in this series? We'll take a quick look. So today we're going to be at Oulton Park. Obviously, being British, I'm very happy to say that we're here at Oulton Park. Certainly, it's actually one of the tracks I've not yet been fortunate enough to visit, but it's certainly on my bucket list. It is one of my favorites. Heading for round 3, we'll be going over to Summit Point. I'm looking forward to some very, very close wheel-on-wheel action there. Round 4 takes us to the United States of America. I'm going to leave that at that. That's Detroit, ladies and gentlemen, with Mosport being the BiS home track for round 5. Phillip Island, that's Australian, isn't it, Reese?
Yes,
sure.
Yes it is.
Perfect. Oh, look at that. We've got 2 in a row, 2 Australian tracks in a row, round 6 and round 7. We are in Reese's backyard on that one with Phillip Island and Bathurst. And then round 8, again, another one of my personal favourites. It's almost like I had an influence on the track rotation here, but we're going to be heading to Road Atlanta, and that one's going to close out the series in the middle of February.
Indeed it will. There's a fair chance that I might actually be behind the wheel at Bathurst. We'll have to wait and see. But we've got to focus on this event for now here at Oulton Park. The drivers are currently coming to the end of their 15 minutes of qualifying. We've got 3 10-lap races ahead, Zippy. Inverted top 5 for the grid of race 2, inverted top 10 for the grid of race 3. No stops are required. It's a fixed setup. You got a spare car available and a 12 incident limit. That's about it, as qualifying is just about to come to a close, so we better get through these points quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Let's take this look at these points. That's absolutely beautiful. Look at that. So in the front, we have Mr. Mark McDonald. He's got the top spot, currently with 61 points. Fair to say, Roger Sieber, very close behind, just 1 point in the gap. Separates first and second. Brady Clapham, I believe he was from Radical Cup Canada. He's there in third with 55, followed by Matthew Murphy and Michael Broomhead, closing out your top 5. As we have a look at the Teams Championship, though, this is another beautiful part here at BiS. Reboot Racing certainly coming in strong in the first round of 120 points. Lima Racing not that far behind with 102, 18 points behind. But Russ Racing, a very close battle between those two, just 4 points in it, closing out your top 3 for the Teams Championship.
Yeah, indeed. And we go to our grid now with Sieber on pole position. Dominic Turcotte has managed to put it on the front row. Reboot Racing dominating qualifying. Chad Ritchie in the top 3 once again for Reboot Racing. Connor Janitas is in 4th place. The third row is going to be Michael Broomhead with John Benvalid starting in 6th place. Then we have Richard Swindells and Cedric O'Hyan rounding out the top 8. Scarali and Harris are 9th and 10th. And then it's Murphy and Mealing 11th and 12th. Craig Willis lucky 13th alongside Brady Clapham, with Sam Trantopoulos in 15th place. Alex McLean starting alongside him in the number 69. Robert Covey, Nicholas Colander 17th and 18th. We've got a 20-car field for this one. Zippy rounded out by Mileman and Anaf Sharia. The revs are already rising and we're getting ready to go for race 1.
Well, it's definitely going to be an absolute belter. And ladies and gentlemen, they are off full send, and it looks like a very clean start so far. These guys are going to be wanting to get into single file as quickly as possible. While you can go free ride around a corner, it's generally not the safest option. You see they're using all of the track on corner exits, so they're headed down there through turn 2. And again, getting into single file very quickly. Sieber, very, very keen. He's pulling away in that 183 machine. Already got the gap up to 0.8 of a second as it stands so far.
Yeah, perfect start there from Roger Sieber. Dominic and Chad chasing behind him. We'll have to wait and see if they can hold off Connor as they make their way into the island hairpin. I absolutely love this turn as there's a slight lock up there for Dominic Turcotte, and he's unfortunately going to lose the position on the exit of the corner to Chad Ritchie, but will draw alongside as they come down the straight. Remember, we are bypassing the chicanes for this round here at Oulton Park. It is a straight run all the way to Knickerbrook.
Well, you can already see as well, Connor Janateus, he's kind of stuck up behind the back of one of those Only Dad's car, and he's looking to try and send it there on the inside. He's making the presence known. Broomhead looking to maybe go on the outside. Somebody's taking a scenic route in the background. I'm not sure who that is.
Trentopoulos.
Yep, Trentopoulos, the number 87 car, going and spending a little bit of time in the sand as if he was David Hasselhoff, but currently back on track and on the way.
Yes, so relatively clean lap 1 so far. Here's the series organizer, Michael Broomhead for Britannia iSports, trying to get into 4th place here. Got to be careful. Connor Janateus is really proving to be a massive defender in this race. Remember, it's only a 10-lap run per race, so you don't have much time to make your moves. And it's difficult to overtake at the Old Hall corner here at turn 1.
Oh, absolutely. And certainly with these cars as well, you got to try and work out, do you want to try and go for the move straight up, or do you want to bit of a slide there from Broomhead in the number 1 machine? Absolutely testing the limits of grip. I don't know if he was driving the car or just giving it a boogies. We've got a spinner in the background. That's Matthew Murphy in the 53 machine.
Yeah, the Reboot Racing car of Matthew Murphy. He started in 11th place and had made his way up to 8th by the start of the first lap. It looks like he might have lost it on the grass on his own. No, actually, it looks like a bit of contact as Cedric O'Hyan was trying to get past him. That's unfortunate there for Murphy. We're seeing some gains as well here as O'Hyan is now trying to pass Keenan Harris for 7th spot, and there's been a pass for 2nd as well. Chad Ritchie getting into the top 2.
Well, certainly as well, we got to work out, are these guys going to be racing all out, or is there going to be some team tactics in play as well? Certainly we've seen Reboot Racing very well equipped as we got somebody's there sliding a little bit in the background, able to keep it on track, thankfully. Certainly a brown pants moment, but the Lima Racing guys currently in formation slightly, a little bit further back in the field with Cedric O'Hyan and Brady Clapham in 8th and 9th position.
Yeah. Meanwhile, as all of this is going on here, as Broomhead's found his way into 2nd now, taking great advantage of this really ridiculous pack of cars, 5 of them being covered by less than half a second here. Benwillid and Harris are just trailing on the back of this one. Dominic Turcotte, meanwhile, trying his best to keep ahead here. Goodness gracious, he nearly got ran into by Connor Janateus. My lord, this is really intense racing. All of this is just giving more of an advantage to Roger Sieber, who led the champion, who was 2nd in the championship coming into this round. With championship leader Mark McDonald not here today, this is a big points opportunity for Sieber.
Oh, absolutely. Sieber is going to take this and run away with it as much as he can. And I got to say, Chad Ritchie is very, very familiar with the limits of that car. Oh my gosh, I thought they were going to go free wide then. Dominic Turcotte able to hold on. As you see, Connor Janateus taking the scenic route in the background there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Reese, please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Connor Janateus is a legit Formula 1600 driver. And if I'm not mistaken, Clovis Gerard actually works on his cars.
Yeah, well, I'll take your word for it, Zippy. I've never encountered Connor Janateus before, but he certainly seems to have his wits about him here in this white machine. I mean, judging by his driver profile photo, we're certainly in the company of someone who does this for real, and he's trying his best to find his way past John Benwillid. This is some crazy racing that we're seeing already, and we're only on lap 3 of 10.
Oh, certainly lots to come. And I do love as well that we have this free race format. That was a bit of a 10 there.
God, Brady Clapham.
He took the corner, to be fair. It's fair to say he went in deep on that one. I think Janatea saw it coming, maybe a little bit of a slight shock, but thankfully no contact there. As you see Clapham now looking to have a move done on Garrett Mealing as well.
Yeah, trying to keep Mealing behind after losing all that momentum through Deer's lead. Keenan Harris has lost a couple of positions just ahead. And now Clapham right on the back of the number 13. Something happened there to Harris coming out of turn 1, it seems. It's very easy to run wide at Old Hall Corner, and the off-tracks here are quite brutal. You don't want to be sticking wheels off the circuit too much here. There's plenty of drivers with high I rating in here, and oh my lord, Clapham. Oh, the door was half open there, and he tried to walk through it, but now Garrett Mealing's going to see the heavens open for him.
Honestly, at that point, it just made me think of something like a little terrier or something, and you could almost see the front wheels just scratching, roaring, trying to pull itself away. That's ambitious.
That is a bit too ambitious, I think. This might be contact. It will. Clapham's off.
I got to admit, I'm not really surprised. It was... Don't get me wrong, passing on the grass, you know, we know how the FIA feels about it, but it certainly wasn't the move I would have gone for, Reese. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, definitely not. That was a bit optimistic there from Clapham, I think. You know, you obviously the slipstream is really important, and it's turned Knickebrook into one of the main overtaking opportunities on the track, but you got to be well alongside before you even think about making the move there. Meanwhile, Benvalid is absolutely flying right now. He's made his way past Janateus and right on the back of Turcotte right now. 4th, 5th, and 6th starting to fall away from Broomhead and Ritchie, who themselves are now starting to catch up to Roger Sieber. So all of this battling that we saw in the opening laps has fizzled out. It's evened out a little bit, and that means that they can focus on trying to catch the lead.
Well, we'll see just how hard they want to fight. Benvalid is literally right at the back of the 73 car of Dominic Turcotte. And it's fair to say, you know, is he going to fight or is he going to go for the slipstream? I don't think he's thinking about the slipstream. I mean, even with the invert, I believe he will still be... Yeah, he'll still get actually slingshotted to pole, if I'm not mistaken. So 5th place right now, very good place to be in, but he does have to be aware that Garrett Mealing is behind him by about 3 seconds back. Actually, my apologies. Connor Janateus is behind him. You can see here, this is the onboard view right now. Benvalid currently ahead, and you can see there a little bit of over-under going on. Mealing's got the draft. Is he going to force it free wide? Benvalid kind of closing the door on him right now, trying to make that F1600 as wide as possible, as Janateus is there trying to find a way to get by.
Oh, Druids! You don't see passing in Druids, and that's why Connor Janateus gifted 2 positions as Benvalid and Turcotte come together.
Maybe there with some very evasive maneuvers. I wouldn't say it was an unsafe rejoin. It looks like Craig Willis has gone off as well. I've just seen him drop down. Alex McLean drop down. Some interesting things happening with the order right now. And yep, that's Willis back in the pits, as Michael Broomhead has taken the fastest lap again as well for the 34.567.
I'm curious for Craig Willis. It looks to me like there was contact made in Druids with Alex McLean, and McLean's in the pits as well. Went absolutely tumbling over, and some massive damage for both of those cars as Broomhead goes to the lead. What a run from Michael Broomhead here. He managed to get free of that top 5 battle, and now he's staking his claim for the win in race 1.
Well, it's fair to say, as much as we do enjoy roasting Broomhead more than the potatoes on Thanksgiving dinner, it's fair to say he does have pedigree in these cars. He did win the BiS F1600 Championship last season, so it's fair to say he's got a good chance of doing this. But don't get me wrong, Roger Sieber is certainly no slouch of competition. If you used to go off I rating, there is a 2,000 I rating gap between Broomhead and Sieber in Sieber's favor.
Yeah, so Sieber's definitely done more official races and been more successful in them. And that's the contact there between Willis and McLean. And, man, yeah, McLean went tumbling around, but he's made it back out onto the circuit, amazingly. Took advantage of the fast repair. Looks like a little bit of a slide there for Willis that, on the correction, put him into McLean. That's unfortunate. But, yeah, that fast double apex ride of Druids is not usually a place you see... too many successful passes. Fortunately for Alex, back out on the track, and he'll at least be able to get classified.
Absolutely, and then not only that, it's more track time, it's more experience. But and you never know what can happen. Don't get me wrong, we've got the oh, certainly not on this race, but we've only got the top 5 invert. But certainly in the top 10, for example, it can be beneficial just to keep going and to not give up. As we're on board right now with Tyler Scarelli for Britannia iSports, actually one of the new admins here at BIS, and you can see he's definitely applying pressure to the back of Connor Janateus, but certainly not choosing to send it. He is very aware that these cars can get a little loose. You can see Janateus sliding very slightly and applying pressure to the car ahead of him. That is it's lost me now. Who's in front of him? Garrett Mealing.
That's Garrett Mealing. Yeah, this is the battle for effectively race 2 pole position. I've also noticed a big problem for Nicholas Colander. Colander was running in 10th place at the start of the lap, but Robert Covey lost it ahead of him into turn 1, and it looked like Colander wasn't quite expecting that. Meanwhile, this fight's just raising up in temperature.
Whoa.
Connor Janateus right at the front of it as they try to go side by side through Druids. It's a very narrow corner, and the optimum line is basically non-alterable. So I'm amazed that they made it through that in one piece. Mealing goes to the front of the fight as Janateus now has to fight up against Keenan Harris. This is great racing.
Well, I gotta say, huge respect to the drivers. I was expecting to see some more of the ballerina actions that we've come to see, certainly here at BIS on occasion. But these guys managing to get these moves, certainly maybe not get the move done, but managed to keep the cars going cleanly. As you can see there, it looks like a bit of a move, and I'm going to say that the commentator's curse is in full effect. The Stevie Ray shotgun has been aimed, and Garrett Mealing currently emerging ahead.
Yeah, looked like Janateus was a little bit tight there coming into Cascades, and unfortunately scrubbing the front tyres opened the door for Keenan Harris to get through. Now Keenan is going to be the one leading the charge here against Garrett Mealing, but Keenan in 5th place currently has race 2 pole position. Janateus will be laser focused on him.
Oh, absolutely, and this is one of the things where, like, you've got 5 cars in a pack, but this order can literally go anywhere. And I think Ohio's been pretty smart at the minute, choosing to sit on the backside of this. I'm thinking he can see fireworks in the distance, and certainly with a little bit of time left to go.
Good Lord.
It may not be worth going through. Yeah, oh, my gosh, they're free.
Oh, no, there we go. They lock wheels. Around they go. Poor cameraman. Garrett Mealing is out of the race here. The suspension is destroyed. What a disaster for Garrett Mealing. Looked like Janateus trying to make it 3 wide there coming out of Knickerbrook, and it just didn't work. The track's so narrow through there. They just made contact, and it hit the end of the Armco. That's the worst place to hit the car.
Well, it's fair to say if there was a song playing at that particular moment, it may have been the Sugar Babes. Round, round, baby, round, round. That is the exact treatment that Garrett Mealing got. Not what he had in mind, but certainly the good thing is here at BIS, there will be 3 races, but the pack continues. Right now, it's Keenan Harris up in 4th. Tyler Scarelli right behind him in the blue and I'd say lime green, maybe a yellow. It depends on how colorblind you are at this point. Thankfully, I can tell the difference between red, yellow, and green. At least if they send me an expensive photograph, I've been informed I can tell the difference. But as you can see there with Cedric O'Hine, I think he's very tactically choosing not to get into this battle right now. I think he's hanging back a little bit just in case more free positions emerge. Certainly 2 free positions the last lap round. It's a solid tactic.
Yeah, remember Ohio just a few laps ago was at the back of the top 10? Well, the drama that has ensued in this race has put him in contention here for race 2 pole position. Scarelli currently occupies that position, but he wants those extra points for 4th. He's trying to find his way past Keenan Harris. There's basically 1 lap to go up at the front coming out of the last corner. So we're going to be seeing a big fight for the top 3 between Broomhead, Sieber, and Ritchie, as well as this battle for 4th.
Yeah, this is certainly one of the close battles. Actually, it looks like Richard Swindells is having a little bit of a battle as well back in 8th. Now, I do know at the race start, something did happen to him. I did get a crash warning, but it's fair to say he's doing all right now. Managed to recover up to 8th position, so we can see what he can do there. But as we look at the front of the pack, Broomhead still leads as they are on lap 10, I believe, with Roger Sieber in the 183 machine about 0.4 of a second behind him. Chad Ritchie pretty equally spaced out as well. But we're going to see how the draft comes into play. Certainly, if you're going to make a move and send it, you're going to have to get it done. It is the final lap for race 1 here at Oulton Park.
Broomhead a little bit wide through the island hairpin there. You can translate that into a good run out of the corner, but he's in trouble. Roger Sieber has the slipstream. Sieber's teammate Chad Ritchie right behind him for Reboot Racing, so it's going to be a double-pronged attack on Broomhead here for the win. Looks like Sieber might be biding his time here. Very intelligent driving from Roger Sieber. He knows that he can make the move somewhere else, and this might be his chance here with Broomhead running wide.
Well, Broomhead is certainly aware of the 183 machine right behind him, and that little off-track has potentially cost him this race win. You can see the car bucking and sliding very slightly, but is he going to be able to hold on? Sieber's got, I'd say, 1 corner left to get this move done.
How late is he going to break is the question. Broomhead got a good run out of Druids, as it looks like Keenan Harris has had a crash behind. He has fallen out of the battle for 4th, but Broomhead, exiting the final corner in 1st place, will win race 1.
Well, good job there by Mike Broomhead. Roger Sieber manages to bring home 2nd with Chad Ritchie in 3rd. Let's try and take a look at Tyler Scarelli and Cedric O'Hyan. They've currently still got a little bit of a battle going on as they're heading towards the checkers. Scarelli able to just get the better of that. How about Clapham and Murphy? Oh, here we go. 3 wide at the line. Very close.
Yeah, certainly. If you want to know what happened to Keenan Harris, Scarelli tried to put a move on him at Knickerbrook, but made contact with his right rear wheel. So Harris had no choice but to go into the gravel trap, and he ended up making heavy contact with the tire bundles. So he'll be very unhappy there. I think there's plenty of drivers who are unhappy with how the race has gone for them. There were plenty more crashes than I expected.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about that. Certainly when we was at Brands Hatch last week, certainly with that smaller circuit, the guys were all very, for lack of better words, they were very well behaved, certainly in the first race. The second spiced it up, and by third, you know, the gloves were off and the teddies were out the pram, and it was every man for himself. It was very much a cutthroat situation. But the speed, the spice, the heat, the intensity coming on very quick this evening here.
Yeah, indeed. I would argue too many crashes for the first race of a night. It was certainly exciting to watch, but yeah, maybe things will need to get cleaned up here for race 2. Well, we are moving very swiftly into the second race here. The grid is already ready, and well, by virtue of finishing 5th in race 1, Cedric O'Hyan is going to start on pole position.
Oh, that's a good thing for O'Hyan. Scarelli's going to be on the 2nd row with Chad, in 2nd place, with Chad Ritchie in the 888 machine in 3rd, alongside Roger Sieber. Broomhead relegated to 5th for that nice pole position win, with Matthew Murphy alongside him in 6th. Richard Swindells will take 7th, with Matthew Mailman alongside in 8th. Dominic Turco, certainly not the race he was looking for. He's going to be alongside Brady Clapham for 9th and 10th, as Connor Janateus and Alex McLean take 11th and 12th. Keenan Harris is in 13th, with Garrett Mealing in 14th. Nicholas Colando will be alongside John Bembelit for 15th and 16th, with Sam Trantopoulos, my apologies there, in 17th, with Robert Kobe alongside in 18th. Craig Willis and Anaf Shaharia, I'm not too sure they're still in this session, but certainly 19th and 20th, respectively.
Yeah, Sharia was, he didn't take to the start of race 1, unfortunately, but he is on the grid for race 2. Still waiting to see if Willis decides to make an appearance, and I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't after the incident that took him out of race 1 there. But I think the lead battle is going to be as intense as ever. Broomhead will want to try and go 3 from 3 tonight, and I'm looking also for a comeback from Garrett Mealing. He was none too happy with the incident that took him out of race 1. He starts down in 14th, and I'm sure he's going to be fighting his way up.
Oh, absolutely. But it's one of those things, though, you can do as many practice laps as you want. You could even race against the AI potentially with one of the newer features that iRacing has. But until you race against the people, here in the league, you are, it's a different set of challenges. And certainly for the point side of thing, we've got that to think about. You got to go, is it worth the risk? How hard do you want to fight? And that invert grid certainly adding another interesting dynamic here at BIS.
Yeah, and don't forget, it's the top 10 who are going to be inverted for race 3. So we got to keep an eye on that coveted 10th spot in the running order. Let's go then as the timer hits 0 and the revs rise. We get ready for the standing start of race 2. And Ohio on pole, little bit of wheel spin from the rear right for our top 2. Scarali not quite getting the run that he wants coming off the line there. Richie going to try and get round the outside of turn 1 here to get it done, but Broomhead is already on the move, and Janateus and Clapham come together.
Oh, you could just see it starting to emerge. It was almost as if it was in slow motion, but no surprises there. And it looks like Broomhead's in a fight as well with Roger Sieber. And it looks like Cedric O'Hine able to hold on to that top spot so far. Not pulled away the same way that Sieber did, but it's fair to say it's certainly a challenging task ahead to maintain a race win.
Yeah, certainly is. What a shame for Janateus and Clapham. Janateus has fallen out of the running order, and yeah, I don't really know how to call the contact between himself and Clapham. It looks like they've both retired from the race thus far, but Broomhead on the move up into 4th place now, and going for 3rd at Knickerbrook, getting past Chad Ritchie.
Well, certainly as well, these guys have got to remember that it is not the same tyres they were on just a moment ago. And certainly they would have learned the places where you can pass and not pass. And this is one of them where it was certainly got a little bit sketchy as Chad Ritchie and Broomhead go side by side. It looks like they made it through cleanly so far. Loving the static shots there from our cameraman. As Scarelli is in the lead, he's taken that away from Ohio with Chad Ritchie, Michael Broomhead and Roger Sieber all very much behind. The battle for the lead right now, very much in anybody's court.
Cool, a little bit of an off there from looked like Sieber. He's fallen behind Dominic Turcotte now, so he'll have to try and fight his way a bit further up. Meerling has gained 3 positions on this lap. He is up into 11th now as most of our lead group decide that track limits are an option in turn 1. Side by side between Broomhead and Ritchie. Chad is trying his best to keep that podium position, and now Broomhead might be in a little bit of trouble here versus Matthew Murphy.
Well, he's certainly under a lot of pressure, and this is exactly what you're going to want to happen if you're Tyler Scarelli. So Scarelli and Broomhead both rocking for Britannia.
Oh, dear. Oh, this isn't good. This isn't good here. Oh, Chad Ritchie just getting back onto the circuit in the middle of the island hairpin. It's always dangerous when someone goes off in the left-hander before it.
Well, that definitely could have ended a lot worse. Thankfully, all the drivers able to survive that little bit of an off-track moment there as we saw Richard Swindell's going by with the paint that's got my face on the side of it. Oh, man, it must have started because I razzed him so much about his interesting choice of shirts. As these guys are going side by side, I believe that's Alex McLean and the treble A car of Chad Ritchie.
Yes, indeed. Colander and Benvalid are right in that as well. The 53 of Murphy trying to find his way past Broomhead, but Michael is doing incredibly well to get alongside Cedric O'Hine here coming into the final corner, and Murphy might see an opportunity around the outside too. Little bit of a pinch to the inside there for O'Hine, and now Murphy's going to try here at turn 1. Get a little bit of slipstream down the front straight here, and I think that's just enough for him to get by.
I gotta admit, I'm actually watching Murphy as he's going. I'm debating as to whether he has motion or not.
He does.
He does. Damn. I'm a little jealous, I admit. I won't try motion because if I like it, I will never enjoy my rig till I've got it.
Yeah, indeed. I've driven a full motion rig myself. It certainly brings the immersion. So let's see if Murphy will be able to use this to try and grab the win. Scarali is certainly the one with the advantage at the moment, but his Britannia iSports teammate Broomhead is on a charge. Absolutely flinging his way around this circuit as Murphy and Ohio will match up with each other coming into Knickerbrook. We've seen plenty of passes go wrong here already tonight.
Well, certainly as well. These guys are not teammates. As we see Broomhead having a little bit of a connection issue there. He's going full ballerina blinker moment and a little bit of an off track from Scarelli. So this could open up the door behind him. Now, ideally, what these guys at the front want to do is work together and try and slingshot each other forward away from the rest of the pack. Make use of having that teammate, and we'll see exactly how it's going to go. We can't underestimate the guys at Reboot Racing. Certainly the 53 car currently up in third.
Indeed. Broomhead 5th in the championship, and for Scarelli it's 15th in the championship. He didn't have a very good round one, did Tyler Scarelli, so he's looking for some redemption here. And I get the feeling he and Broomhead will try and work together as best they can, but it's still very early on in the season. No one is justified a place for the sake of the championship.
Certainly not, and certainly with that prize being on the line as well. I mean, as much as you want team tactics, you've got to exercise some common sense as well. Certainly, if you can pull each other away, you will do, but it looks like Broomhead's got a run here, and I have a feeling he is a little bit quicker than Scarelli on this occasion, and he's had to go for it. Scarelli kind of hung out to dry a little bit, as it looks like Murphy's going to make the move as well. Scarelli is off in the grass, and you can see that Keenan Harris sneaks by, Ohio sneaks by, Scarelli dead in the water, and you see he's up there with the groundskeeper.
Yes, cutting the inside of the hairpin. Nice, safe re-entry onto the racetrack. It all started with Scarelli having a poor run out of Cascades. He was wide in the middle of the corner, and so Broomhead made the move. There was a slight bit of contact between Scarelli and Murphy that sent Tyler off, so unfortunate for him. What it does mean is that the lead pack has really closed up. We've got, what, 8 cars, 7 cars here, all in the fight for the win.
Absolutely, and just to give a context on how close these gaps are right now, I'm seeing the number drop under a tenth of a second and go as high as about 3 tenths. That's how close it is, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I don't know how long it takes you to blink, but literally you may blink and you may miss a pass here as the number 13 car, Keenan Harris, takes second place.
Keenan Harris having a fantastic run here. Remember, Harris had a late issue through the end of race 1. He's found his way out from 13th, and he's fighting for the podium. He's going to have to fight a little harder, though, as that was slow through turn 1 for him. Cedric O'Hyan having to back out of that, and Harris getting the fastest lap on the way.
Well, as you say that, it looked like I saw a warning for Chad Ritchie as well in the treble 8 machine. I believe something may have happened to that Reboot Racing car, but currently Broomhead ahead. And I'm also getting a warning for Robert Covey as well. So a fair few guys, I've got to say as well there, Reese, the off-track warnings I'm getting, it seems a lot of these drivers are almost using them tactically at this point, trying to capitalize on the performance around this circuit.
Yeah, definitely looks like it. We can see here Robert Covey battling with Sam Trantopoulos for lucky 13th place. Let's see what Covey will be able to do here. Covey ultimately finishing 11th in the first race, so he's had a consistent run so far tonight. I've also got some news on what happened to Chad Ritchie. That corner they just went through, Ritchie went just beyond the exit curb and spun around by himself. But let's see what Covey can do here to get past Trantopoulos.
Well, certainly Robert Covey is one of the BiS regulars and certainly the best bearded gentleman that we have in this league. But I do know he's going to be out close to my neck of the woods. Certainly he's going to be as close as 3 hours away in the next coming couple of weeks. As you see there, a little bit of a blink there from the car ahead of him. I'd have to see who's that now. That's Trantopoulos. But I may have to go for a beer with this gentleman. He doesn't know it yet, but I guess we'll find out in the long run.
The lead battle is really heating up now. There's Matthew Murphy and Michael Broomhead go all the way off at the exit of turn 1. It looked like there was a tiny bit of contact between Murphy and Harris just behind coming out of Deer's Leap, so they need to be careful of that. That looks like Matthew Mileman stopped on the inside of Cascades. Meanwhile, bit of a problem there for the 41. Not too sure what caused that, but it's certainly nowhere near even the back of the leaders' minds. They've got each other to worry about.
Absolutely. It looks like Covey just managed to get that move done on Trantopoulos as well, but we're going to stay with this battle at the front. You can see Covey trying everything he can, trying to hold on and potentially get a second race win. Certainly is nothing to be underestimated. It is the Broomhead Ballerina who's currently rocking first place in the number 1 car, but Murphy certainly applying the pressure. Keenan Harris behind, and that looked like Dominic Turco and Cedric O'Hyan very briefly going side by side there.
Yeah, Hyan trying to stick his nose up the inside at Knickerbrook wasn't close enough to get it done. Ultimately, that has given a little bit of breathing room to the top three. So now Keenan Harris has it all ahead of him here. A double draft off the back of Matthew Murphy and Michael Broomhead. And we are well past the halfway point of this race as well. I mean, there is that timer up in the top left, but we are counting the race by laps. This is the start of lap 7. So we'll have to wait and see here exactly what goes on in these last 4 laps. There is a time limit of 20 minutes for these races, but yeah, they are 10 laps per. Benvalid getting the fastest lap there. Benvalid is battling with Scarali for 8th position, both of them losing out at some point tonight. They are a long way behind this fight, but you can see them there just popping out in the background out of Cascades.
Well, certainly as well, this next race going into race 3 will be a top 10 invert. So Swindells will be the one to capitalize on that most. But Scarali, well, it really comes down to it. While he would like to be in 8th ahead of Benvalid, if not, he's still going to be on the front row, as these guys are still going hard at it. About 0.2 of a second between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd position.
Here comes the slipstream then, coming into Knickerbrook. The top 3 working with each other very well here. 4th on back, just can't catch up right now. But if there's even a moment of side-by-side, somebody is going to take advantage. Benvalid, meanwhile, getting past Scarali for 8th off screen, as you just saw. It looks like Broomhead's kind of safe in the lead for the moment. He's probably not going to see much of any move from Matthew Murphy unless he makes a mistake. I think Murphy is playing the long game here. He's waiting for the last lap to make his move because he knows that the slipstream is incredibly strong here, as we've seen tonight. So if you want to get the move done, make sure that your rival doesn't have a chance to fight back.
Oh, absolutely. And I have a feeling something's happened with Garrett Mealing as well. He's dropping heavily through the order. I don't have a warning up for him, but on my end, certainly, he's just dropped all the way back to 12th place, 16th place.
Oh, it looks like a tech issue for him. He's popped back up into 7th. I think that might have been a little bit of an internet whoopsie there for him. Broomhead a little wide through Cascades. This could be the chance that Murphy and Harris are looking for.
You can see that in the background, Scarali and Benvalid still going hard at it, so that's good news there for them. But I do wonder if Murphy is going to make that move sooner rather than later. As much as you want to try and, get the move done and make sure you're ahead at the end of the race, he's going to have to start applying a little bit more pressure at this point, because Broomhead, he's not a driver that is that easily phased when there's a mirror full of cars behind him.
Yeah, he's a good defender, is Michael Broomhead. The slipstream's there for the 53, but he backs out of it. Usually you'd see them braking and going through that chicane, but no, they just flick to the right under the trees and up the hill. It's amazing how narrow the track gets in this section. A slight look from Harris. He's going to go for 2nd here. Matthew Murphy sees him coming and lets him go because he knows that he can definitely fight back. It's going to be 2 laps to go when they cross the line next, and oh dear, that's a Hyan going off.
I think he's actually going to get away with that to a certain amount. He may still be able to hold on to that top 10. You can see Alex McLean coming pretty quickly up behind him, but this could actually be almost like a silver lining for Ohio. As you see, a huge puff of smoke there.
Broomhead's coming into the pits.
What the?
Oh, that's the incident limit. Incident limit for Keenan Harris and Michael Broomhead. I mean, we were talking about how they were extending the track limits out of turn 1. You can't do that.
You can. You just pay the price for it. Check, please.
Yeah. Can't do that too much. Drive through for our race 1 winner.
Warnings for Kobe and Mailman as well.
Oh, yes.
Back. I believe something's happened with our bearded friend Robert Kobe in the 72 machine. But right now, Matthew Murphy for Reboot Racing, he's up at the front. Dominic Turco right behind him, also for Reboot. And I believe that 3rd and 4th, Reboot Racing absolutely cleaning up, taking the top 4 positions as it stands right now. That looked like rain. Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looked like a little bit of wetness there. Well, the track is dry, but hey, yeah, I can see the weather radar. There's a small band of rain, a tiny band of rain that has just come through. This is crazy. I wasn't expecting this at all.
I certainly wasn't either. So a whole
That came
wave
out of
of
nowhere.
surprise here in the commentary booth. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching at home, please raise your umbrellas and then ask yourself why you've raised your umbrella while you're in the house. I mean, that's a you thing, but don't get me wrong, we're not playing Simon Says here on Pit Road Productions, but certainly I've got to wonder how hard are these guys going to fight. Broomhead now, he's taken that 10th place spot. O'Hyan pushed up the front. I wonder as well, is this going to be a wolf in sheep's clothing for Broomhead? Is this going to be a very, very beneficial position to be on the pole for race 3 this evening?
Yeah, it might be. You never know. He just needs to be careful of running too wide out of turn 1. Well, the rain has stopped. I'm looking at the weather radar. It's just a little band of rain that's just come across the circuit like a whip. I guess you could say. It is going to continue for a little bit. There's another small patch coming, but other than that, it's looking clear for the rest of the race. But the final lap has started here for Matthew Murphy and Dominic Turcotte. Dominic has found himself in second. It looks like it's going to be a 1-2 here for Reboot Racing. 1-2-3 even. Seba's found his way into third. 1-2-3-4. Goodness, Garrett Mealing's up there too.
Well, don't get me wrong, certainly if we watch Formula One, you see 2 drivers take the top of the podium, it's a good thing, but to take all 4, at that point, it's just showing off. Garrett Mealing, certainly, he's had a little bit of a rough day so far, but up 10 positions as it stands. Actually, as I have a quick look through, he is the hard charger. It could be tied with John Benvelid as well, who's also up 10 positions, so definitely good news there for the Reboot Racing guys and for Lima Racing as well.
Well, there we go. Mealing and Benvelid up 10 positions as they exit the final corner, and Matthew Murphy is going to be the one taking the run to the line there. Showing off there, and well, that's a photo finish. That'll be good for the socials.
Oh, absolutely. They all knew it was happening. Like, guys, struck a pose. Ciao. He found it funny. You can see him laughing. I'm sure he can't hear the stream right now, but the timing was beautiful.
Certainly was. Well, Matthew Murphy can wipe the sweat from his brow there in satisfaction at a very well executed race 2. He was right up there from the moment the green flag dropped, and he held off the pressure both from Broomhead and from Keenan Harris as well. He would have been cheering when he saw Broomhead and Harris go into the pits behind him. Man, what a race, and we even got a bit of drizzle as well.
I do wonder if that rain is going to be present after the warm-up as well. We'll do a little bit of ad promos during the warm-up as well, but just some interesting statistics for that race there, Reese. So top incident points was Matthew Mailman, who we know didn't have the best race. He had 15. Robert Covey took 13. But the ones I'm really interested in, Broomhead and Harris. Now, Broomhead took 12 and Keenan Harris took 14. So while these guys, we've seen them generally not having too much of a touch, too much of a contact, I 110% think there is a tactical off-track being employed at this point. As Broomhead's just told me, it is 12 incident points for the drive-through and then 17 for disqualification. So let me see here. Who had the 14? 14. So Keenan Harris dodging on the edge, as was Matthew Mailman there, running a little bit close to that threshold.
Yeah, indeed. Flying a bit too close to the sun, as it were. Well, we can go through the results for race 2 here before we thank our sponsors here at BIS. The win going to the number 53 of Matthew Murphy, and it's a 1-2-3-4 for Reboot Racing with Turcotte, Sieber, and Mealing behind. Scarali and Benvelid going to round out the top 6. Really nice comeback from those two. Swindells, meanwhile, getting up into P7, managing to hold on to the position he started in. O'Hyan, who started on pole, unfortunately lost it by himself and Druids and will finish 8th. Alex McLean getting back into the top 10, just ahead of Broomhead.
Well, certainly, you know, a very interesting race indeed. Broomhead there with that top 10, but I gotta say, what an absolutely fantastic race there. As you have a look at 11, Harris is there. Chad Ritchie takes 12th with Connor Janateus in 13th. Sam Trentopoulos, he's there in 14th. 15th, 16th with the Lima Racing guys there. Brady Clapham and Matthew Mayland. Colander, not what he was looking for. He's back in 17th. Kobe, I'm not quite sure what happened to him at the end. He's there in 18th with Anaf Shahraria and Craig Willis not attending that race.
No, certainly not. It's a shame for the guys further on back, but we can take a moment to thank our sponsors here in the BiS Formula 1600 Championship. If you like BiS, you'll love Falcon Autosport Track Days. Running out of Grand Bend Motorplex in Grand Bend, Ontario, these track days help get people just like you onto the racetrack, make new friends, and can teach everything from good car control all the way up to helping you get into racing a car in real life. BiS racers get a discount of 10% off Falcon Autosport Track Days. Email Drew from Falcon Autosport, drew@falconautosport.com, or text 226-750-7916. That's 226-750-7916.
Certainly a good man is Drew Gear, and he certainly wanted to make track days a little bit of a different experience, and it's fair to say they've gone down very, very well if you're in that neighborhood. Certainly if you're near Toronto, Grand Bend area, go and take him up on that. Another one of our sponsors, Motor Racing Checklist. Now, if you're not familiar with that, that's actually Suelio Almeida. So if you want to improve your lap times and consistency, check out the Motor Racing Checklist used by Radical North. Well, not just used, it was made by Radical North America Cup champion Suelio Almeida. With 50 plus videos and over 7,000 students, I believe you might have even hit 8,000 at this point. This step-by-step course is designed to make you faster and help you join the top 10% of drivers. BiS members get 20% off with coupon code BISFF20. Start today. Honestly, huge recommendation there for Suelio. Great human being, great racer. He's actually out at the Radical World Nationals, I believe, right now in Dubai. I think Yas Marina is the circuit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, or the Dubai Autodrome. Yas Marina's in the United Arab Emirates.
I failed geography, Reese. I would have thought you'd have got that one.
I'm a geography nerd. I've a good chunk of my free time is spent just looking at maps. So yeah, we wish Suelio all the best in his real life event, and we can find ourselves more or less on the run here to race 3 here in the BiS F1600 Championship at Oulton Park. 2 very exciting races, one of which was rain affected, but it looks like that band of rain that I saw on the weather radar is moving away from the circuit at quite a rate. So I'm going to call that we are going to be clear for race 3.
I gotta admit, I personally would enjoy a little bit of drizzle here at Oulton Park. Certainly, it would add a little bit of extra spice to this circuit. But what I do particularly like is the sun is just starting to go down. Actually, what time is it at the track? We'll find out. Our director will, I'm sure, hit a magic button very, very shortly. But quite a picturesque view here at the UK circuit.
Yeah, we are approaching the late afternoon here in virtual Cheshire. 19 degrees Celsius on the track, and that track temp would have dropped massively because of the rain. There's plenty of wind as well. You see that? 21 k's an hour coming from the east-southeast. So, I mean, these cars aren't really fast enough to be too affected by wind, but I'm sure it would at least play a part.
I can certainly imagine it would. Certainly, if you think about being in a real-life cockpit, you would certainly feel that, I imagine, you know, especially being so open, so exposed. But I will say, just going off the top of my head, but Oulton Park, Donington Park, Cadwell Park, and Snetterton are all actually owned by the same company. And I believe it is an ex-Formula One driver who is invested in that company. Fun fact.
All right.
I'm just going to keep leaving open sentences for you, Reese, and hope that you have the accurate filler.
Yeah, look, you can't count on me for that. I work best when there's something on the screen right in front of me, like this
There
grid.
you go.
Michael Broomhead and Alex McLean are going to be starting on your front row here with Chad Ritchie and Connor Janataeus. With Cedric O'Hyan and Richard Swindells in third and fourth. The grid order was really jumbled for me there for some reason. Good start for Swindells. He can really capitalize on this. Ben Willard and Scarali are going to start on the third row, and then row 4 will be Garrett Mealing and Roger Sieber. The top 2 from race 2, Dominic Turcotte and Matthew Murphy, in inverse order, will start 9th and 10th. And then Matthew Murphy will continue on from there, ahead of Keenan Harris and Chad Ritchie in 11th and 12th. 13th place, Connor Janataeus. He's been fast, but he's tended to get involved in prangs. Let's see if he can avoid that here in race 3, starting alongside Sam Trantopoulos, with Brady Clapham and Matthew Mileman both suffering big issues in the Lima Racing cars, starting on the 8th row. Colander and Covey going to start 17th and 18th, and we are not going to see either Anaf Sharia or Craig Willis in this race. Both of them have left the server.
Well, I was right, and it was Jonathan Palmer, by the way, but we'll get more of that a little bit later. It's pretty cool, actually, to see a Formula 1 driver own some racetracks, but it looks like we are getting ready to go. It's going to be 10 laps of chaos or clean racing, maybe a little bit of both, as these guys, you can hear the engines revving, and green, they are off, and Broomhead doing everything he can to capitalize on that. Looks like Covey got a great start as well, and already the Lima Racing guys, that looks like John Bemberlid trying to get past Swindells, nowhere to go, and that looks like there's another car on the outside, pushed it a little bit wide. Swindells holding on with everything he can muster. Huge gap here between the first, well, I guess 3, 4, 5 cars at this point.
Yeah, 2 wide, 3 deep coming out of Cascade. Scarali getting it done on Mealing there. Very successful start from Tyler Scarali there. Let's see what he can do to hold him back as they make their way to the island hairpin again. The track is dry, of course, after that time skip in the warm-up. So we're going to have to wait and see if the drivers will be able to get used to these dry conditions quickly again. The top 3 have broken away from the rest of the field. Alex McLean right behind Michael Broomhead. Let's see what the 69 can do here.
Well, already you can see he's looking to try and make some moves, and O'Hyan's gone, thank you very much, I'll take the inside there. Those guys side by side. Could this end in chaos? This could be the break that Broomhead needs. If these guys come to blows, certainly the rest of the field behind will be scarpering, doing everything they can to avoid him, as it looks like Swindells there defending on the inside. I'll be honest, I doubt anybody's going to want to pass him, because they're going to have to view my mug on the way past, but certainly Swindells able to hold on so far.
And Cedric O'Hyan getting past Alex McLean in Druids. It looked a bit scrappy between the two of them there, but plenty of room being given, and McLean might lose out to Swindells here too. But if you're on the left side of the run onto the start-finish straight, you get a slight advantage. Swindells having to lift off there, and now having to face off against John Benberlid. And, well, there we go. That's another off track for everybody in the top 6. Oh, my God!
Ooh.
Colander and Trantopoulos both going off there at turn 1.
Well, I have a feeling we're going to get a replay of that very shortly. You can see certainly one of the shiniest cars on the grid, I believe, is Nicholas Colander, but in the number 5 machine. But we'll get a replay of that in just a short moment. You see here the Lima Racing guys going hard at it. And who's out on the inside in the number 5? That is where it's going. Oh, well, they're not on the inside anymore. That was a replay. That was Colander and the 87 of Sam Trantopoulos. Yeah, definitely not what they had in mind.
No, looked like Trantopoulos potentially trying to go up the inside there. It's so difficult to go side by side through the opening corner. The apex is very harsh, and it's a very tight turn on the way in. So if you need to if you need to get the move done, make sure you're fully alongside. But I think we should flick up the field a bit to the battle for third, because my God, it is absolutely going off right now. I don't know who's going to be finishing P3. It's certainly not going to be Tyler Scarali with that kind of save.
I thought that was contact for a second, Reese, but look, thankfully they've held on. And I've got to say, I'm having a picturesque moment, loving the way the sun is reflecting off the cars. The Scarali is going hard at it with, it looks like the number 13 car of Keenan Harris.
Yeah, indeed. Scarali side by side with Harris, and they interlock wheels just about on the way up to turn one. Good thing about open wheel cars is I mean, if you if your front wheels are at the center line of the car ahead, you can push them a little bit more, but you got to be careful of the wheels locking and you getting sent up into the air, as we've seen a few times before. They've got to be careful on the exit curb of Cascades there as well. The off track is quite brutal there. Even if you've got two wheels on the track, if you even touch the AstroTurf there on the outside, you get an off track. So keep an eye out potentially for more drivers having to take drive-through penalties for incident limit in this race.
Well, speaking of off tracks right now, Brady Clapham, he's already got 6 incident points. Broomhead currently with 0, as I believe Robert Covey's just passed him.
No, that's Covey retiring. He's been classified ahead due to the timing glitching. But side by side into Knickerbrook, and McLean will emerge ahead, but only just.
I was going to say, I was passed by Kobe, and like, nope, he teleported. As you can see there, Scarelli very, very close to the back of Keenan Harris. At this point, it's almost if there was a ripcord hanging out the back of Harris's car, Scarelli would be tugging on it. And it's fair to say these guys certainly getting a little bit of a cucaracha moment going as we head down the straight.
Yeah, let's see what they can do coming into the final corner here. A little bit of oversteer from Benwalid as side by side between Harris and Scarali. Tyler's trying desperately to keep his spot in the top 6 here. What a recovery it has been from Keenan Harris. Remember, he was running in second before he had to take his penalty in race 2, so he's definitely got the speed to finish on the podium here.
Well, certainly speed is one thing, racecraft is another, and it looks like Alex McLean is currently going to be under attack very, very shortly. He's got Bemberlid behind him, Swindell's behind him. It looks like Swindell's and Harris going side by side as well. I've got to say, good drive by Swindell's. He's currently having a really good battle, but right behind him is Scarelli as well, certainly keen to apply the pressure. And it looks like he's made a move on the inside. Oh, that could have gone a lot worse. Swindell's thankfully able to hold on, slows up a little bit, and will be under attack from Garrett Mealing next. I thought that was going to end in chaos.
Yeah, you never want to see a car go off there on the run to the island hairpin, because it's very easy to not slow down in time and just crash straight into the cars going through the hairpin. But Swindell's was right on it, managed to slow up. Well, now he's one of the fillings in a triple layer sandwich of Reboot Racing, and he's already lost 2 spots there to Mealing and Murphy. Here comes Roger Sieber, who, remember, qualified on pole position for race 1, but has yet to actually finish on that top spot of the podium this evening. He's gotten 2 podiums so far, though. As things stand, I think he might be in contention for winning the round with his results, so he just needs to take care from here.
Certainly, you know, you got to keep in mind the attrition between the 3 races, but definitely not what Swindell's had in mind. The Reboot Racing guys, for lack of better words, are running a train on the number 16 machine. It's almost like he was sat on the couch and everybody just wanted it to go. But I believe Robert Covey, I've got a warning for him, may have crashed as well. Okay, yeah, that was last lap. We're fine. So definitely not the result he was looking for. Janateus, I believe, is out on track still as well. I got warnings earlier for Trantopoulos. But a few guys, certainly the top 10, still within striking distance of each other with a gap there before to Brady Clapham in 11th.
Yeah, Broomhead and Ohio are miles ahead of these guys now. They might have to try and work together to get things done here, but that's Alex McLean going off in the island hairpin. I don't know if there was contact involved there, but he definitely lost it on the way in. Yeah, no contact. He just clipped the grass on entry. Not ideal for Alex McLean. Another driver who it seems like really has the speed to fight for wins here, but just isn't able to get the consistency down.
Well, that is a huge part of it, Reese, and certainly something that I've certainly struggled with in the race. You know, generally I find I don't tend to have pace racecrafts where it's at, but sometimes, you know, you just got to try and survive. With Scarelli, he's trying to do exactly that, fighting for 3rd position right now. You can see there ahead of him is Keenan Harris, and certainly right now looking very good for Britannia iSports. Certainly Lima Racing a little bit more sporadic through the field, and Reboot a bit further back.
Sieber, meanwhile, and Swindell's getting past Matthew Murphy. I think Matthew Murphy has had a problem. He's fallen now down to 10th. He's back behind McLean. Been a big problem for the 53 as Scarali fighting Harris into turn 1 to get into 3rd. When are these guys going to start working together? Because they are losing time to Broomhead and Oulton. If anything, their lap times are only matching them. They're not better. Broomhead and Oulton working together really well at the front of the field here.
Well, certainly, I think that's a good play. Broomhead's certainly not going to be wanting the rest of the pack to catch him up, and I don't think Oulton is either. They're going to be very happy they are ahead. As I got to say, what a beautiful scenic view there of the water alongside the racetrack. That definitely appeals very, very nicely. You can see this field very spread out in this final race of the evening.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. The lighting here is lovely at this time of, well, I suppose it's technically still the afternoon because it's 4:10 p.m. in sim time. But of course it is November in the UK, which means it gets dark quite early.
I can certainly remember back when I worked in the bookies. I can often be there working till 9:30 at night, and it wouldn't take long to see the sun go down, and then in the shop that I was in mainly, it was basically a thin corridor with about 30 TVs in it. So fair to say, you didn't really notice too much. But right now, Tyler Scarelli, he's very aware of his surroundings. You see there, Benvelit applying even more pressure for the Lima Racing Machine, currently back in 5th.
Yep, the fastest driver on that lap turned out to be Garrett Mealing at the back of this pack. He's caught right up to Scarelli and Harris. The 888 of Chad Ritchie, meanwhile, had an issue further back. He's fallen back to 13th place. But, I mean, we just can't look away from these battles, can we? They're so intense, and it's been this way throughout the whole event. A little bit of flame shooting out the back of Keenan Harris's exhaust on the upshift there as Scarelli tries his best to find a way past. Little bit of a slide coming off the curb there for Harris. You can tell how hard he's pushing.
Well, certainly you've got to push, but there's only so far you can go. These tires as well, they're not a completely slick tire. They're kind of like I believe they're street legal, but I know certainly the man to ask would be Connor Giannateus as he runs a real one. But Scarelli, oh my gosh, that was close. I thought they were going to make contact there. That would have resulted in a one-way ticket to outer space, but Scarelli, using the draft, retakes that position over Keenan Harris and puts himself on the podium, all very briefly, as Keenan Harris is fighting back side by side. You can see right behind him is Benvelit and Mealing as well, and it looks like Benvelit's going to send it up on the inside. Gets it done.
Just getting through. Nicely done. Yeah, that's the problem with trying to make a pass at Knickerbrook. You have to compromise your line on the way in, and it means you're open to an over-under. And, Scarelli went for the move, and he's ended up losing 3 positions after that. And it looks like oh no, he's cracked the incident limit, Sippy. He's gone.
Yep, no, he's hit the mystical 12. Actually, I can see as well, Alex McLean, he's hovering pretty close to that with 11. So certainly at that point, you're not going to fight as hard. Alex McLean's going to be very, very aware of getting any more off tracks. I mean, realistically as well, 12 off tracks and 10 laps is very, very generous margins for such short races. So realistically, these guys are absolutely milking every little bit of performance. Broomhead currently out at the front. He's used 1 incident point. Oulton with 3, but one I keep an eye on is going to be the number 13 car of Keenan Harris. He's currently at 11. As you see here, Murphy making the move up on the outside of Alex McLean.
Yeah, can he get it done? It's a banked corner, this island hairpin, but if you're on the inside, you have the advantage through the corner. Murphy and McLean will battle all the way to Knickerbrook here. They're only fighting over 8th spot, but every position is worth something here, side by side across the crest of the hill. And McLean should have the advantage here on entry, but he's going to yield.
I think that may be a little bit of self-preservation as well. He does not want to risk contact. And I got to say as well, both him and Robert Covey using as a H-pattern shifter, which for me just gets a little bit of extra respect. I'd like to say that I do that, but I'd be lying.
Yeah, indeed. These cars have a dog box, I believe, or at least a 4-speed H-pattern shifter that you don't really need to use the clutch for. So very entertaining to drive these things. The battle's still going on for 3rd, though. Benvelit has found his way into the podium spots, but Harris is coming back at him after a poor run out of turn 1.
Yeah, it looked like Harris definitely had a lot of exit speed on that corner, and it's opened up Benville potentially to an attack from Mealing as well. I don't know. How would you play this one, Reese? Would you want to be trying to get up, get fighting with it, or would you be hanging back right where Mealing is right now, seeing if these guys collide?
I'm more of that second style when I'm in a battle. If there's drivers fighting in front of me and I know the slipstream is strong, I can just back off and stay behind them, knowing that I'll be able to catch up to them. And the moment they run side by side, that's when I try to pounce.
So you're going to send it free wide then?
Well, maybe
Attaboy.
not.
Attaboy.
Whoa! Oh, well, we got a bit of too wide going on for a moment there, with Benvalid finding the grass, and again, run compromise through Knickerbrook, and there's the opportunity for Garrett Mealing to get by. See, that's exactly what I would do. I would wait for one of them to make a mistake and then make my move, and the moment I'm by, then I can focus on the car in front. But it's going to be the last lap coming up here. I don't know if Mealing's going to be able to catch up to Harris at this stage.
Yeah, the gap is fair to say is quite a way back at this point. If I'm reading this correctly, it's about 5.7 seconds. So short of something colossal going wrong, it's fair to say that's not going to happen. As you see there, Barney is waving the white flag. But, I don't know, I'm getting confused here. Harris, he's about 0.8 of a second back. So, yeah, I'd say that was doable.
Yeah. I mean, the draft starts to come in with about a second's gap to the car in front around a track like this, and as we've seen, it's incredibly strong. Benvalid's gone off just behind them there. Oh no, lost it by himself through Cascades. His campaign for the podium is now over. Swindells is going to say thank you very much, mate, as that looks like McLean going for a spin in Cascades.
Well, that'll be it for McLean. If I go and have a quick look at his instant points, I believe... well, Brady Clapham, he's hit 15, so he's going to be due a drive-through. Let's find McLean now. McLean, I've lost the right ticket. He's at 13 incident points. My apologies, I'm reading the wrong box. 13 incident points for McLean, 13 for Scarelli. And John Benvalid right now, he's on the hot seat with 11 incident points. One more from him, and he will be getting a drive-through as well.
Yeah, we'll see. Considering it's the last lap, if you get over the incident limit, then the time will just be added to your race time. So we're going to be seeing some shuffling in the results after this race concludes. We might have to hold off on the full results when we get to the finish here. Speaking of the finish, it is upon us. Michael Broomhead has held off Cedric O'Hyan in beautiful fashion, and he's going to come away with 2 wins from tonight's racing. A first, a 10th, and a first. I mean, that's got to put him in contention for the round win for sure.
Oh, certainly. And not only that, it means we actually have to legitimately interview him, not just because he's the league organizer. You can see these guys still... Our director is absolutely howling at that remark in the background. You guys can't hear it, but it was honestly... We get coyotes out here in Nova Scotia, and I could swear he was leading the pack at that point. Our director absolutely howling with delight at such a comment.
Oh, good Lord. Well, Broomhead will come away with some satisfaction from tonight. Race 2 was certainly a blip on what was a great performance there. But, yeah, Broomhead will certainly be finding himself in contention for a second BiS F1600 Championship if these results are anything to go by.
Certainly, yeah, it's looking good for him at the minute, as him and Tyler Scarelli are either holding hands or having a photo opportunity. I'm not really sure at this point, but I'm looking behind. Oh, I thought he was going to go for it. That's got to be Nicholas Calander. Gets a little bit of a tank slapper going with a 360. I'm going to give that one a 5.1 for the 360.
Yeah, indeed. They got to be careful, though, not to overcome the incident limit even now. I mean, there's basically a couple of minutes after the checkered flag where if you have an incident, then it still counts towards your incident total. But I think we're past that now. And we can find ourselves to our results, which I believe have been adjusted now, potentially. What is for sure is Michael Broomhead from pole to win in race 2 is going to win 2 races from 3 here and potentially the round. O'Hyan and Harris will round out the podium, with Mealing and Sieber rounding out the top 5. Swindells gets 6th in the end ahead of Ben Willard, Murphy and Turcotte, and Brady Clapham will round out the top 10.
As we have a look at P11, it's Tyler Scarelli. Obviously, that incident point was enough to really take him out of the running, with Nicholas Calander in 12th. Matthew Mailman, he takes 13th, with Alex McLean in 14th. Chad Ritchie, certainly not the race he was looking for, back in 15th, as was it for Sam Trentopoulos. Certainly, I've seen a few little warnings pop up there for the number 87 machine. Connor Janateus, fair to say, not what he had in mind for race 3. He's back in 17th, with Robert Kobe in 18th, and Anaf Sharia and Craig Willis not taking to the start for race 3.
Well, with that, we can round things off with driver interviews, and you're the roast master, Zippy, so I'll leave it to you to talk to.
Well, then, the ballerina himself, not only does he perform today, but he comes away with a little bit of brassware. A first, a 10th, and a first. It's fair to say, if it has a 1 in the title, it is of interest to you. Mike, tell us a little bit about how you pulled off this magic today.
Just going as fast as I can around the corners and stuff, I think. No, like it's it's a really good track. Really, like, keeping momentum up, commitment is up there. So during practice, I was just sending it and see what would happen, and just got a rhythm down, really. And yeah, it went pretty well.
It certainly looked like you had things under control for the most part. Now, I got to ask, when there was yourself and Scarelli, it was, don't quote me on which race it was, but, you know, Scarelli was ahead. Was there any team tactics going on in play? Like, how are you going to handle those kind of situations where obviously the prize is the drive of a real F1600, but it's also, there's a team championship going as well. How do you guys approach that? Is there any, like, team rules, team orders, or anything of the sorts?
We communicate pretty solidly on what is happening, what we're going to do, but for that, I didn't want to pass him originally. I just wanted to see if we could tuck in together and just get away from the pack, but it didn't go to plan. He was wide at one point, and he just let me go. And so, we'll talk as we go, but at the same time, we've been racing with each other for a long time, since this team was not called Britannia and since the league didn't exist. So we know what we're doing, we know where we stand, and we're always there to help each other if need be.
Well, that is absolutely great sportsmanship from the number 1 car of Michael Broomhead. But while we got you in here, is there anything you want to tell us about the upcoming BiS F1600 Championship, or indeed the BiS Radical Canada Cup?
Yeah, we're still entries are open just for a little bit longer. There's a bit of space here in this league and a bit of space in Radical as well. But we've got Montreal coming up next week in the Radicals, which is a fantastic Canadian venue. Not seen with the real Radicals, but it certainly would be a great track to race at. We've got a great field in that as well. We've got some fantastic sponsors in that. But of course, F1600, we have Falcon Autosport that are helping us out this season. They put on track days. They're up in Grand Bend. And they're all about teaching you how to go and take your car on the track and what to do and the proper technique. So if you've ever been interested in doing this yourself, if you don't have a sim, you want to go and try the real thing, give them a call. Drew, he'll be, not that I wasn't thinking of his name there, but Drew, he's a fantastic guy. He'll be able to help you out and set you up with a program that will make sense with you. But we've got some great partners in this league, some great drivers, and without those guys and of course you guys, we don't have anything, so thank you.
Yeah, definitely a huge thanks to our sponsors. But ladies and gentlemen, that was Mike Broomhead, and I take great pleasure and also great surprise in saying 2 first-place podiums this evening. Well done there to the number 1 car of Mike Broomhead. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, indeed. Mike Broomhead there doing very well today. In second place in race 3, was Cedric O'Hyan. And a 5th and an 8th from tonight has turned out to be some very consistent results for you, Cedric. Certainly wasn't easy, though.
No, it definitely wasn't an easy race, guys. It was a lot of fun, though. Some good battles. Had a couple unfortunate spins and had to work through that, but had a lot of fun, and that's all that counts.
Yeah, indeed it is. Oulton Park, definitely a brutal track, especially for incident points. How were you managing with all of that?
It was tough, especially that last race, staying behind Mike and just trying to stay in his draft because I definitely didn't have as much pace as him. So I was just trying to stay behind him and push with him and just try to not like let everybody catch up to us. And that one was tough because I really had to be careful not to over push and get a lot of off tracks.
Yeah, indeed. Well, going across to the remaining rounds of the season, are there any tracks that really jump out to you as places you'll be optimistic for a result at?
No, not really. I don't have any specific ones that I would say I'm good at. We just, as a team, we get together and we do some practicing, and we all give each other pointers and help each other out and build up to the pace of all the super fast guys in this league. So, no, just practice with the team and hope to get good results in every race.
Excellent stuff. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go, Cedric?
Well, yeah, definitely the team, everyone at Lima Racing, all the boys. Appreciate them and appreciate all the help and the pointers. And thanks to Mike for putting this great league together. And thanks to the two of you as well for doing such a great job and making it fun for me to go watch the race after the race.
Cedric O'Hien and the number 36 there. Thank you very much for joining us. And finally, Zippy, it looks like Keenan Harris is going to join us here third in race three. Finally, a decent result after a difficult night.
Yeah, definitely some interesting results for you this evening, Keenan. But certainly that last one, he was actually the hard charger as well. But something I was keeping an eye on here from the commentary booth, a lot of you guys choosing to take what I would call the tactical off track. Now, tell us a little bit about that and about how it felt being on 11 incident points, 1 incident point away from a drive-through penalty for the closing stages of that race.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty close there. This track, there's a lot of runoff area, like through turn one, through Cascades, where it's like, and it's very easy to gain time by just absolutely just disregarding the track limits and getting close to that slow down penalty, which I, ran afoul of in race one, but oh well, it happens. Yeah, it's kind of funny. You're doing a trade off of trying to gain lap time, trying to either like catch a draft or pull away or stay in the draft. As a trade off at the end, it's like you really got to watch because if you're on that 10, 11X, you make contact like Brumo and I unfortunately didn't race too. It's like that's it, you got to drive through. So you really got to, I guess it's a tactical game with your off tracks at this track for sure.
Well, it certainly did add another interesting dynamic, but it's fair to say you managed to control that. And in some ways, they say that at the end of a race, you should only have like the bare minimum left of the race car. There shouldn't be any extra fuel in the tank, any extra tire left on the vehicle. And in the case of BIS, any extra incident points available for the spend. So we've got to congratulate you on that third place. But Keenan, tell us a little bit as well about how you ended up here at BIS, and if you've got any real world experience, please forgive me my memory, but I have a feeling that you are involved in the real world as well.
Well, uh, stay involved or was, it almost kind of feels like a different lifetime ago. But yeah, I guess I kind of knew Mike Broomhead from or at least Formula Ford. I don't think we've ever met in person, but definitely knew there's a few guys that race in the Radical series, like Joey Haynes. I've known for too long. I don't want to, but
He's a good man. I like
it-
Joey. He's a
yeah,
good man.
Joey's wonderful. So I found about this series. I really like racing these cars. Maybe not fully fits in with my work schedule to do all the rounds, but yeah. So I signed up. I did a whole bunch of karting when I was a kid. Did a season of Formula 1200. Did a few one-offs in Formula Ford, so I do have experience in these cars. I've driven them. I kind of did a bit of wrenching on them. Did some testing. In fact, kind of mentioned it here. The livery I'm running this season is uh, identical or kind of a replica of a car I raced a couple of races in 2012 for Rice Race Prep. That's kind of in memorial to Greg Rice. He unfortunately passed away earlier this year. So, you know, you know, I drove one of his cars. I you know, kind of worked with him a bit, you know, did some testing, and you know, he was kind of, I think, for a period in my life, a good mentor. So I kind of wanted to honor him by running this livery. But yeah, that's basically to kind of go long, but in a nutshell, kind of my racing career and how I ended up at the BIS.
Well, that is definitely a fantastic journey you've just taken us down, and certainly as well. I know if I was your mentor, and sadly he's not with us now, but I would be very proud with your performance today, and to see you running that paint job as well. And it does add another interesting dynamic as well. And it's actually Brent O'Connor who explained this to me. He's involved in Operation Motorsport, and he does a little bit of, well, I say a little bit. He's often at our local racetrack as well, Atlantic Motorsport Park, and he was saying that, you know, you have different kinds of family, and at the racetrack, you certainly have another family. It's what he calls his chosen family. So it's good to see you representing them very well. But ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Keenan Harris, your third place finisher for race 3.
Yeah, indeed. Fantastic job from Keenan there. And, well, that I think is going to bring things to an end here, Zippy. What an event at Oulton Park. Brands Hatch was crazy for different reasons. This one was just as crazy. We saw some super tight battles, plenty of cars involved. There will be a few drivers, of course, who aren't very happy with how tonight went, but we've got a long season ahead of us to work things out.
Absolutely, Reese, and certainly as well, you know, sometimes, you know, rubbing is racing. It just happens to be the F1600, maybe not so good at having a little bit of, you know, contact. Certainly without the bumpers and stuff like that, it's not as forgiving, but I do think it adds an extra level of skill and of talent. And certainly a lot of these guys here have, you know, some of them have known each other for quite a sustained period of time. I mean, the poor guy's known Broomhead for a while, like, you know, but then you got like people like Joey Haynes as well, and a lot of these guys, they end up meeting each other in real life, and you know, they know each other through racing communities, and you build a rapport. And I think that's one of the beautiful things at BIS. I mean, don't get me wrong, the racing may have had a few colourful moments, for example, but it's okay, you know. People, even if they're a little bit upset by it, they'll have that moment, cool their jets, and then come the next race, everything's good, everything's ready to go again. And that's part of it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, while it may be a racing sim, the racing itself is real. So certainly a lot of passion and a lot of determination here this evening on Pit Road Productions.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we go to Summit Point for the next round of the championship, a rookie circuit, Zippy, and everyone will be well familiar with that place. It is short, it is sharp, it is fast, the curbs are brutal, there's a few overtaking opportunities. I get the feeling we're going to be seeing more chaos there in 2 weeks' time.
Oh, absolutely. Certainly, there's going to be I think turn 1's going to be the hot pot on that one. Hot pot, hot corner, hot point. Pick a word, Breeze, pick a word. But certainly we're going to have to wait until next round for that. But next time we are indeed going to have the BiS Radical Canada Cup, which I do hear was quite the interesting start in race 2. I did get to review that despite my absence. But an incredibly sized grid as well. I believe we had over 50 cars on the grid for that. But if you want to see more of the BiS Radical Canada Cup, or indeed the BiS F1600 Cup, you can catch it here on Pit Road Productions. But until then, we're going to see you very shortly, November 13th, ladies and gentlemen. That's about a week's time. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
If you really want to improve your driving technique, you cannot just ask someone to tell you when to brake or when to turn. You have to learn how the car wants you to drive it. You have to learn car handling techniques, and that's where I excel at. The Motor Racing Checklist is the work of my life, currently with 2,000 drivers registered, and here's the thing, if you don't improve in 30 days, you get your money back. So give it a try. If you have any questions, just send me a message. I'm always available to answering these questions. This course is made for high-level drivers. If you're a beginner, you're gonna use it for a long time because all these concepts will help you right away, but the more you improve, the more you understand them, and then you're able to squeeze every concept to the limit, and you're gonna gain precision to be able to apply them in a very subtle way that most people don't even notice a difference in their driving. But those are the small things that make you improve a tenth per corner, and then if you just add up those tenths, you realize you're 1 second faster than everyone else. Give it a try. If you have any question, just send me a message.